Another long afternoon at Ibrox has left a lot of Rangers supporters shaking their heads, and not because of a defeat on the scoreboard, but because of what was shown on the pitch. The goalless draw at Easter Road felt like a missed opportunity in every possible sense, and for many watching, it ranked among the most worrying performances of the season so far. There was a flatness to the display, a lack of imagination, and an attacking edge that simply never arrived. Even without conceding, the match exposed issues that have been simmering beneath the surface for weeks, particularly in the final third, where creativity and composure continue to be in short supply. What stood out most was how difficult Rangers found it to turn possession into genuine chances. The ball was moved side to side, territory was gained, but when it came to unlocking a stubborn defense, there was very little inspiration. Set pieces, once a reliable weapon, offered no threat, and open play rarely produced moments of danger. For a team chasing the title, that is a worrying trend, and it underlined why this January window has been viewed as absolutely critical by so many fans. The need for attacking quality, especially players capable of scoring goals and creating chances under pressure, could not have been clearer. That context makes the latest transfer developments feel both encouraging and frustrating at the same time. Rangers have been working behind the scenes on a deal for a striker they clearly believe can make a difference, and a verbal agreement has now been reached with Hansa Rostock for Ryan Nader. The problem is the timing. As things stand, that move is expected to be completed in the summer rather than immediately. While it is positive that groundwork has been laid for the future, it does little to address the urgent needs of the present, particularly with the title race finally balanced. Supporters have been quick to voice their concerns about that delay, and it is easy to understand why. The feeling is that Rangers require help now, not in a few months' time, and that postponing the arrival of a forward who fits the profile feels like a gamble. The squad already has options at left back, in central midfield, and on the wing, yet those areas have been strengthened first. Meanwhile, the striking department continues to look light on reliable goal scorers, something that was painfully obvious during the stalemate against Hibernian. As a result, attention has turned to Cameron Archer, with a move from Southampton now appearing increasingly likely as deadline day unfolds. The expectation is that Archer will arrive in January, offering immediate cover and an extra body in attack. However, there is a lingering sense of skepticism among the fan base, shaped by past experiences. Loan signings in similar situations have often failed to make the desired impact, and questions are being asked about whether his recent goal record is strong enough to carry the weight of a title challenge at Rangers. Those doubts are not rooted in negativity for the sake of it, but in realism. Rangers have seen this story play out before, where a forward arrives mid-season with modest numbers behind him and struggles to adapt quickly enough to the demands and pressure of Scottish football. The margins at the top are so fine that relying on a short-term solution without proven output feels risky. While Archer may offer energy and movement, many supporters remain unconvinced that he alone can provide the cutting edge that has been missing. Beyond the striker situation, the transfer window has been busy in other areas, and not just in terms of arrivals. The draw at Easter Road may have dominated headlines, but inside the club offices, the focus has shifted firmly to recruitment meetings, negotiations, and difficult decisions about the squad's shape. With the deadline approaching, Rangers are attempting to balance immediate needs with longer-term planning, a task made more complicated by the legacy of previous windows. Several incoming deals have already been completed as part of an effort to add depth and balance. Andrea Skov Olsen has come through the door alongside other January additions, signaling an attempt to freshen things up across the pitch. These moves suggest a clear intention to reshape the squad, but they also highlight the reality that not every area can be fixed at once. As much as the reinforcements bring optimism, they also raise expectations, especially when results do not immediately improve. At the same time, outgoings are starting to gather pace, with Rangers keen to streamline the group and correct lingering issues from earlier recruitment drives. Clinton Nziala is closing in on a move to Belgian side Westerlo, with an agreement in place for a loan deal that includes an option to buy at the end of the season. The defender is expected to travel for a medical around deadline day, and if the move becomes permanent, a long-term contract is believed to be waiting for him. It is a clear sign that Rangers are willing to make decisive calls on players who are not fitting into the current plans. This ongoing reshuffle is part of a broader cleanup operation following a disastrous summer window that left the squad unbalanced and contributed to instability behind the scenes. Several signings from that period failed to settle or perform consistently, leaving the current coaching staff with the challenge of extracting value or moving players on. To his credit, the manager has managed to steady the ship and coax improved performances out of certain individuals, but the process is far from complete. More departures are expected before the window shuts, with DANILO among those likely to move on as negotiations continue. Joe Rothwell is another name linked with an exit, having struggled to make the desired impact, and a return to the English Championship appears increasingly possible. These potential exits underline the scale of change taking place and the club's determination to reshape the squad, even if it means making tough decisions mid-season. January has already been an intense period for Rangers, marked by constant movement and uncertainty. Business has been conducted at both ends of the squad, and there's a strong sense that activity will continue right up until the final moments of the window. While that level of churn can be unsettling, it also reflects a recognition that standing still is not an option, especially with the title race so finely poised. On the pitch, however, the reality remains stark. The 0-0 draw against Hibernian did little to strengthen Rangers' position, and it served as a reminder that solid foundations alone will not be enough. Control and organization are important, but without goals they count for very little. The team must find greater sharpness and consistency in attack if they are to keep pace at the top over the remainder of the campaign, because performances like the one at Easter Road leave very little margin for optimism unless meaningful improvements follow quickly. As deadline day continues to tick down, the sense of urgency around Ibrox grows stronger with every passing hour. There's a clear understanding among supporters that this window is not just about squad depth or future planning, but about responding to what has been visible on the pitch in recent weeks. The lack of conviction in front of goal has become impossible to ignore, and while defensive solidity has improved, football matches at this level are decided by moments of quality in the final third. Rangers cannot afford to rely solely on structure and discipline if they want to stay locked into the title race. The frustration felt after the Easter Road draw was not simply about dropped points, but about repetition. The same patterns have appeared too often this season, with Rangers controlling long spells of games without ever truly threatening the opposition goalkeeper. Possession without penetration has become a familiar sight, and that naturally fuels debate about recruitment priorities. When chances are scarce and confidence drains from attacking players, pressure builds quickly both on the pitch and in the stands. That is why the summer agreement for Ryan Nader, while welcomed in principle, has been met with mixed emotions. On one hand, it signals that Rangers have identified a forward they believe can raise the overall level of the squad. On the other, it feels like a solution arriving too late to solve an immediate problem. Supporters understand the financial and negotiating realities of modern football, but patience is in short supply when a title is at stake. Every dropped point magnifies the sense that decisive action is required now, not later. Cameron Archer's potential arrival has therefore taken on huge significance. Fair or not, he is being measured against the demands of the moment rather than the longer term. His role, if the deal is completed, would be to contribute instantly, to offer movement, energy, and ideally goals in crucial matches. Yet expectations are tempered by recent history where similar mid-season additions have struggled to adapt and make an impact. Rangers fans have been here before, and the scars of past windows still influence how new signings are judged. Behind the scenes, the club's recruitment team is operating under intense scrutiny. The lessons of previous windows loom large, especially after a summer that left the squad unbalanced and required corrective work almost immediately. That period triggered a chain reaction with managerial changes and a rethink of recruitment strategy following soon after. The current approach appears more cautious, more deliberate, but that caution also brings risks when urgency is required. The exits being lined up reflect that ongoing reset. Moving players on is rarely straightforward, particularly in January, yet Rangers seem determined to reduce numbers and reshape the squad profile. Clinton Insiala's move towards Belgian football is one such example, offering him a chance to restart while potentially providing Rangers with flexibility down the line. These decisions are not just about individual players, but about creating a squad that better fits the manager's ideas and the demands of the league. DANILO's expected departure would be another significant moment, marking the end of a chapter that never quite delivered on its promise. Injuries, form, and circumstances have combined to limit his impact, and a fresh start elsewhere may suit all parties. Joe Rothwell's situation is similar, with his time at the club failing to spark in the way many had hoped. These moves underline how quickly plans can change in football, especially when performances do not match expectations. For the manager, navigating this period requires balance. There is a need to stabilize results on the pitch while overseeing constant change off it. That is no easy task, particularly when every decision is judged through the lens of the title race. Credit has been given for improving organization and restoring a sense of structure, but that goodwill can evaporate quickly if results stall. Rangers are a club where progress is measured in trophies, not transitional phases. The January additions already completed suggest a desire to build a more balanced side with options across multiple positions. Andreas Skov Olsen's arrival adds variety and competition, while other signings have aimed to strengthen depth. These moves may pay dividends over time, but football rarely allows time to settle, especially when rivals are applying pressure at the top of the table. Each fixture now feels loaded with significance, and every decision carries weight. What remains clear is that Rangers are at a crossroads. The foundations are there, but foundations alone do not win championships. Goals do, creativity does, composure in decisive moments does. The coming days and possibly hours will shape not just the remainder of this season, but the wider direction of the club, whether through late additions, finalized exits, or tactical adjustments. Something has to shift to change the narrative that has developed over recent weeks. The supporters can sense it, the players can feel it, and the club hierarchy is well aware of it. The margins are slim, the pressure relentless, and the room for error almost non-existent. As the transfer window edges towards its close, Rangers are faced with choices that will define their campaign. The challenge is ensuring that the squad left behind is not just streamlined, but strong enough, sharp enough, and ruthless enough to turn control into victories and potential into points when it matters most. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The noise coming out of Ibrox this week is not about tactics or form, but about a growing sense of urgency that something is missing right at the sharp end. Whispers around the training ground suggest Rangers boss RÖHL is far from satisfied with the attacking options at his disposal and has made it clear behind closed doors that a late move in the market might be the only way to steady the ship. With DANILO no longer in the picture, the gap he's left has become harder to ignore. The forward line, once expected to carry pace, movement, and a cutting edge, has looked thin on confidence and thinner still on solutions. The hope that CHERMITI would step up and shoulder the burden has, according to those close to the club, not materialized as planned. Chances have come and gone, and patience inside the technical area is said to be wearing stretched. RÖHL is rumored to have voiced his concerns in blunt terms, warning that Rangers can't afford to drift while relying on potential alone. The word is that he's pushing the board to act fast, even if it means a short-term fix or a deal that would normally be left for later. The feeling is that experience, composure, and a natural instinct in front of goal are being sorely missed, and that the squad balance is off without a proven striker to lean on. Supporters, meanwhile, are picking up on the tension. There's talk in the stands and on the streets around Ibrox that the team is doing plenty right until the final third, where moves break down and belief drains away. It's feeding the rumor mill, with names being floated and agents said to be on the phone. Whether a signing actually arrives remains to be seen, but one thing seems clear: RÖHL does nay want to gamble. In his view, Rangers are one forward short, and time is something he feels the club no longer has the luxury of wasting. Greetings. Fans, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC, and don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.